You're going, I hope.
Yes,
All
yes.
right. Mute. Now it's time to mute.
Now it's time to mute.
Hello, and welcome to Unity of Fredericksburg. My name is Linda, and I'm pleased to welcome all of you to the Unity of Fredericksburg weekly online gathering. At Unity of Fredericksburg, we are advancing the movement of spiritual awakening and transformation through unity, a positive path for spiritual living. We thank those of you watching on YouTube live or later and invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you're able to attend live, we encourage you to join us in the Zoom community room for the full Sunday morning experience, including music, prayer, and connection. Our weekly newsletter includes the Sunday service link, and you can subscribe to receive that at our website at uofva.org. For everyone local to Central Virginia, Unity of Fredericksburg offers a variety of fun and enriching in-person gatherings every month. Subscribe to our weekly newsletter at uofva.org for all the details. Our message and meditation today comes from via video recording from Reverend Juan Enrico Toro. Reverend Juan is a Unity minister, and his messages inspire, motivate, open hearts, and are intended to give you back to yourself. So now here's Reverend Juan.
All right, Unity of Fredericksburg, God bless each and every one of you. Juan Enrique Toro here, greeting you during this holiday season. Honored, delighted to be with you on this day, wanting to contemplate this idea of the soul found its worth. But first, a story about a man who is driving from the Northeast up here, and he's going to drive down to Florida, but he decides to take the back roads. And he's deep in the South, those back roads in the South, and he comes across this little town. And in this town, they have a beautiful creche, you know, a nativity scene. And he stopped to take a look at it because it looks so ornate and beautiful. Well, he's looking at it, and he notices that the three wise men have firemen's hats on. And he could not understand why they would have firemen's hats on, but it was clearly there, very detailed. Unable to get an explanation, he continues driving, and just at the edge of town, he comes across a quick stop, and he decides to pull in to get some gas. And as he's paying for the gas, he asks the woman behind the counter, you know, I saw that beautiful creche that you all have set up. It's absolutely beautiful, but I'm confused about the fireman's hat on the three wise men. Can you explain that to me? And the woman says, well, you Yankees, you don't read your Bible. The man says, ma'am, I have read the Bible, but I don't recall anything in the Bible about firemen. And she pulls out the cunder, and she pulls out her Bible, flips through it, and then points to the scripture, right? Puts it in his face and says, it says right here, 3 wise men came from afar. My southern accent is terrible. 3 wise men came from afar. Oh, Merry Christmas, everybody. Wonderful. So, I am very happy to be in this Christmas season. Maybe you can tell. And I am always delighted when the Christmas carols come along. And my favorite Christmas carol is O Holy Night. And the reason for that is part of the lyrics, you know, long lay the world in sin and error pining, till he appeared, and the soul found its worth. And the soul found its worth. Oh, that is a vision of that holy night in which, you know, something comes together and there's a moment of inspiration in which the soul discovers its true value and its true worth. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. Because in our world, we understand that very important to do our own inner work. But our own inner work sometimes can best be done as we interact with others. As the people in our world help us see ourselves and see where it is that we need to heal, where it is that we can come up higher in love and divine consciousness and awareness of who and what we are. Sometimes that work is very individual, just inside of us, and sometimes we need those mirrors that surrounds us and give us this reflection of those places where we need to work. And one of the things that happen is obviously this assigning of value or worth to individuals in our world. You know, if somebody in your life that you esteem, you think you value, they're offering you something wonderful, you put them on a very high sense of value or worth. They mean a lot to you, and it's not hard when somebody means a lot to you to love them. To love them. And so in our world, if we see somebody doing good deeds, we tend to value that. If somebody walks in with a killer outfit, you go, "Oh man, that's a killer outfit," and you value that. You say, "Oh man, they're just looking good." Maybe somebody's a great businessman. Somebody's developed a wonderful, profound spiritual consciousness, developed their artistry and poetry, and you admire their creativity, the way they connect, and they can talk about mystical things with such ease. And so they're on a very high level for you. You put a lot of worth or value towards them. If, however, some of those same people do something where they break your trust, they betray you, maybe they reveal that the high consciousness you thought they had, they really don't quite have, right? Maybe you catch them in some negativity or doing or saying something. Well, then your value, your worth, your esteem of them goes down. And we could say then that the way in which we value people is kind of like a needle on a graph that's going all over the place. Sometimes it's high, sometimes it's low. It's constantly rising and falling. And yet here's the thing. If we don't evaluate, if we don't decide somebody's worth or value, then we don't know how to relate to them. We don't know how to feel about them. Right? And so, one moment it's high, another moment it's low, but we're looking for something to put that person in context. And that's what I'm trying to talk to you about today. Because, in the Bible, you remember that moment in which they asked Jesus, well, what are the commandments, right? And Jesus says basically two. Well, the first is you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, your mind, and your soul. And the second is like the first, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. Bam, right? He says it very clearly. So right away, we understand that this idea of loving our neighbor is a very important thing that we need to do. In fact, it's reflected all throughout spirituality. And I'm going to read from a letter that Paul wrote to the Romans, Romans 13, 8, 10. He says, brothers and sisters, owe nothing to anyone except to love one another. For the one who loves another has fulfilled the law. Check that out. The commandments, you shall not commit adultery, you shall not kill, you shall not steal, you shall not covet, and whatever other commandment there may be are summed up in this one, saying, namely, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. Love does no evil to the neighbor. Hence, love is the fulfillment of the law. Wow, so this is really a very high bar of ways in which we need to relate to our neighbor. So once again, if you think somebody is incredibly valuable to you, worthy to you, loving them is absolutely natural. And if they attack you, if they betray you, love goes down. Now, what I want to propose to you today really comes from the Course in Miracles. Those of you who are a student of the Course might understand this, or might have heard it or read it before. But the problem is we're putting value on others, when in truth, God has already placed a value or a worth on each one of us. So whatever we do, however we judge, however we determine somebody's value or worth, is second or last place in knowing what is their true worth and value. And the word that the Course in Miracles use for each one of our brothers and sisters is inestimable worth. Wow, it's a big word. Inestimable worth. And when we read that our brothers and sisters have inestimable worth, there are three things that we need to consider with that word. First of all, the word inestimable, which means it cannot be calculated. It is so great that it cannot be measured, that it cannot be calculated. It is immense. It cannot be overestimated. Hello? However you estimate, their true worth, their real worth cannot be estimated. Inestimable. That's the first thing. The second thing is that our neighbors, our brothers and sisters, are of tremendous value to us because they offer us the opportunity to remember within ourselves the deep peace, love, compassion, presence of God that we yearn for in our spiritual development and growth. And not only that, in remembering this peace, they offer us a key to our freedom from anxiety, from stress, from worry, from fear. They offer us the key to be free of all of that. We could say even release from pain. So the second thing is they are of tremendous value to us. And the third thing is that however much we estimate them, we cannot really do that. Their value has already been set. So the implication is stop. Stop trying to put your own value on there, and rather work on seeing the value that has already been established since the creation of time. Our brothers and sisters, their value to us cannot be estimated. That's almost like a truth bomb, right? That's bam. Cannot be estimated by us or by their actions because their value has been established by God. It's already been done. It's already been set by God. And here's the beautiful thing about it. It cannot be changed. It cannot be changed. It is permanent, it is unchanging, and it is inestimable. Now, for a moment, take a deep breath. You know, we like to say, I'm a child of God, created in the image and likeness of God. We want to really absorb that truth, that reality of who we are. All that we're saying here today is that our brothers and sisters have that same value and worth. And we can't do anything to change it. They can't do anything to change it. The nature of our being is established, it's permanent, it's unchanging, and it's inestimable. Now, if you begin to meditate on this, right? It gets to be kind of heavy because, you know, that person who cheated you or betrayed you or fired you or attacked you, or, you know, that person who did that to you or you did that to them, their value, their worth is inestimable to you. That homeless person that you see in the street trying to bundled up in the corner, sleeping at night in the doorways, behind those ragged clothes is a beloved child of God. That person standing next to you in the elevator when you go to the grocery store and other people have their carts and they're picking up their own groceries, their value is inestimable. Your friend, your colleagues. Look at a celebrity. Their value is inestimable. And, you know, in Unity, we say a lot, I behold the Christ in you. We like to say that. It's absolutely true. But how do we say it? Has it become a little rote? Are we really saying that beyond all of the trappings, but beyond the way that you think that you show up, or the way that I like or I don't like the way in which you show up and what you do and what you say and how you dress and everything, that I'm beholding that inner beauty and worth and value that you are beyond all of that? And if we really get into it, I behold the Christ in you is like an ecstatic vision. I'll go back to the Christmas Carol. And he appeared, and the soul found its worth. So when we have the Christ-like realization of who they are, it's an ecstatic vision of their worth. Now, the other day, you know, I work as a wedding officiant, and the other day I was doing a wedding, and I don't know, I can't really explain what happened exactly. But in what was happening, I got into an energy in which everything suddenly seemed luminous. I was in the present moment, I was in the flow. Everywhere I looked, I thought I saw people that I know, that they knew me, I knew them. There was a oneness feeling. I was in a sort of ecstasy. In fact, when the couple, bride and groom, were standing in front of me and I'm reciting the words to this ceremony, I was really trying to control myself because I was going to begin to cry for the beauty of the love that I saw in this wonderful couple. It was so inspiring, it was ecstatic, it was awe-inspiring. Absolutely beautiful. And I know you've had moments like that too. Moments of oneness in the flow. You know what I'm talking about. An ecstatic vision. Well, that's what we're talking about when we're talking about seeing our brothers and sisters as having inestimable value. When we can perceive that, then loving them, holding them in the highest esteem and highest worth for us is not difficult. In fact, this is what forgiveness is all about. Right? Sometimes we work our forgiveness just to get rid of our judgment. But forgiveness really has two parts to it. Right? When we can begin the forgiveness process and we can come into understanding, you know, what they did, and we might even have some compassion, you know, they know not what they do, that kind of thing. But the other part of forgiveness is that once the judgment drops off, once the scale of those judgments fall off our eyes, then we behold the beauty of the Christ within. And it is absolutely awe-inspiring. When that happens, there's a sense of love. We could say that forgiveness, the intention of forgiveness, is a return to love. Can we say that again? Forgiveness, the intention of forgiveness, is a return to love. So as you're working your forgiveness process, that's where you need to go. Yes, we let go of the judgment. That's the first part. We need to get rid of that and, you know, our anger and injustice and all of that. And we stay with it until we behold the loving presence of those people, right? Now, what does this mean for us? A very important question for us today. What does this mean for us? Well, awareness of our own value. This is what I'm saying. The awareness of our own worth is tied to the recognition of the worth of others. If you give in to dislike them, to judge them, to hold them in low value, low esteem, we dislike ourselves. We're holding ourselves in that place. And I think one of the big journeys in our spiritual journey is that journey of worthiness, to feel worthy. Not to feel that, there's something wrong with me. I heard another person say the other day, all my life I felt that something's wrong with me. So we need to grow in sense of value, of worth, of who I am. And this is so strong. And of course, if you have trouble valuing them, you have trouble valuing yourself. You dislike them, you dislike yourself. Let me drop this truth bomb on you here. Your identity, my identity, depends on their reality. Your identity, my identity, depends on seeing, acknowledging their reality. Wow. Now, an Indian mystic, Anandamaji Ma, says the following: judge no one as unenlightened. Judge no one as unenlightened, for then it is you who are blind. Judge no one as not awake, for then it is you who are asleep. If someone of royal birth forgets who they are, would you treat them like a pauper? Or would you treat them with great honor and respect, encouraging them to remember their true identity? Do not be fooled by appearances unless you want to be considered foolish. Do not focus on illusions unless you want your own reality to fade in your mind. Ooh, speaking right to us. The great goddess never loses sight of who she is. And she's her own radiant face everywhere and in everyone, regardless of the costumes she wears. All costumes are removed by her grace, and the perfection that lies within is forever revealed. And the perfection that lies within is forever revealed. Wow. So, just today, I'm preparing this message about our worth, about people being of inestimable value. All right, I work here in a healthcare center. There's a number of chaplains that work with me. We have one chaplain who comes just once a week, and he tends to be, very high, what we call a high maintenance person. I'm expressing my judgments here. I'm aware of that, okay? In fact, one of my colleagues says whenever he shows up, it's like a train wreck because, he's clumsy, the printer stops working, things fall over, things break, things get lost, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, he was particularly on today, and he had his sights set on me for get me this, do that, where's this, how do I do that, just constant attention, needing constant attention. Then finally, he was recording a video, which we do, and he lost our microphone. I have a little microphone here clipped to my tie, and we have two. And he lost one. He came in and he says, I have some bad news. I lost the microphone. And I said, well, have you looked for it? He says, yeah, I'm going to go look for it, whatever. By the end of the day, he had not found the microphone, and he says, well, maybe you can ask security if they find it. And that was it. He didn't apologize. He didn't say, I'm sorry. He didn't offer to pay for a new one. All right. And this is an expensive piece of equipment, right? For us, little department here, pastoral care, don't have a lot of money to buy a replacement. And it is an important piece because sometimes we do recordings with two people. Anyway, here I am in my office after he leaves without any sorrow, any remorse, right? Lost the microphone, big deal. Oh boy. This microphone was important to me. And the fact that he had no remorse, the fact that he was not apologetic at all, it really hurt. Don't you just love it when Spirit presents to you opportunities to put your own teachings in practice? So here I am with you right now. And so what do? Well, first of all, I have to acknowledge where I am. And as I made that recognition, this is what we can do when we have to work this idea of inestimable worth. Okay, this is kind of a how-to for you. First, we have to recognize where we are, and I have to admit that my judgments were all over the place. They were jumping out like firecrackers, fireworks all over the place. Angry. I felt, and this is, by the way, the second microphone that he's lost. We had to replace one. We saved up for 6 months to buy a replacement. Now he's lost another one. I don't know. So, anger, felt injustice, felt hurt, that he wouldn't even acknowledge that something had gone wrong. And a sense of mourning, a sense of loss. All of these things were coming up inside of me. Judgments about who he is, right? That he is clumsy, that he is a train wreck, the way, the other colleague describes him. And all of that is there. And when we recognize those feelings, we need to allow them. We need to accept them. We can't push them away. We can't deny them. We need to feel them deeply. They're there. And if they're there, we want to honor them. We want to welcome them. So whatever the judgment is, whatever the negativity is, we have to honor that. And so then I start investigating, right? I start investigating. And this was very interesting to me. First, I started noticing where it is that I feel these emotions. Of course, my stomach was churning kind of like this. My heart was kind of pounding a little bit. I found myself a little bit short of breath, right? So I began with the breathing. I wanted to do some real work here. And here's what's important for this message here today. I knew where I needed to go, right? At the moment, I was not able to see him. It was not able for me to say, I behold the Christ in you. It just, it was more an affirmation. It was a goal. It was an intention, but it wasn't something I was really feeling. But in my investigation, that set the goal of where I needed to go. The truth is that our brothers and sisters, they're giving us opportunities for love constantly. Either they're extending love to us in one way or another, in which case we have the opportunity to return that love, right? That's easy. Receive love, return love, that's easy. But if they're not extending love, what they're doing is they're extending a call for love. Again, this is a concept from the Course in Miracles, but it's a great concept because it says somebody who maybe has detoured away from understanding their own worth, knowing the love of God within them. Somebody who is a little lost in the world. Their ego has taken over. Their negative emotions seem to have them trapped in their mind and heart. And so when we're in that state, we act out. We might attack. We might lose a microphone. We might break something. We might do something, betray somebody. And basically all that's happening there is a person is kind of raising a flag, saying, hello, I've lost my way. I've lost my way. I need help. I've lost the sense of God's love in my heart. And so that's why all of this acting out is really a call for love. Okay? So, our brothers and sisters, our neighbors, they're extending love or they're extending a call for love. And in both cases, we have the opportunity to extend love. All right? The first case is pretty easy. In the second case, we need to do the work, kind of like I'm doing with you right now. Okay? So I framed this loss of the microphone and his attitude about the loss all as a call for love. somebody who's lost their way, somebody who's calling out at the soul level, right? Now, when I told you I'm setting the bar, here's where my investigation came in. I said, you know, sometimes I see myself as less than. I don't feel my own soul's worth. I want to grow in awareness of who I am as a child of God. I want to feel the awe of God's love, the presence and power of God's love deeply in my heart. I want to grow in the awareness and the experience of divine love in my life. And this gentleman is offering me the opportunity to step up higher. So, once I addressed my judgments, just like I was telling you, the process of forgiveness, I set the intention, right, of what I really wanted to do. In this case, it's a very selfish intention. You notice that. I want to grow in love. And the path to that growth right now is seeing this individual as a child of God, as he is in God's eyes. I want to behold the Christ in him. Now, of course, this doesn't mean that, you know, everything's okay. We're not going to have a discussion about it. I may take some action about it. But what I want to do is get rid of my judgment, of my negativity, of valuing him as a train wreck individual. I want to see him. I want to know him as a child of God. I want to be awe-inspired by who he is. And so in my heart, I nurture that consciousness. This is what we might call spiritual parenting. You know, if you pick up a child and they may be crying and you hold them in your warm arms and you offer them love, and you might whisper in their ear, "It's okay. You're beautiful. It's going to be all right. Don't worry. Don't fear. Trust, it's all going to be all right." These are the words that we can say to ourselves in nurturing ourselves to come into the experience of this truth. And this is what I've been doing. Ever since he left earlier today, I've been nurturing myself in that love. And I have to say, I've grown. My compassion for him is real. Now, I'll admit to you that at this moment, it's been about 2 hours since he left, I'm not quite in awe, okay? I'm not celebrating his life, but I feel like I've released the judgment. And so I'm working on, by nurturing that within me, within him, loving presence and acceptance is the key to me coming up, to raising up in love. So to close, I'd like to offer this affirmation, okay? First of all, oh, holy night, right? Long lay the world in sin and error pining. That's where I was when he told me about losing the microphone. Sin and error pining, till he appeared and the soul found its worth. Beautiful. Here's the affirmation. I recognize, I'm talking to this individual now, it's my example for today. I recognize your inestimable worth. First part of that sentence, I recognize your inestimable worth, dear friend. And my own worth as part of identification with you. You see how that comes around? I recognize your inestimable worth and my own worth as part of identification with you. Juan Enrique Toro sending you love and blessings, wishing for you an absolutely holy and worthy Christmas. God bless you all. So by way of meditation today, I always like to invite people to put attention in their hearts. Before we actually start the meditation, just to invite you to put your attention in your heart. You know, In our message today, I'm going to talk about how we can nurture love within us. And sometimes nurturing love within us is something that we can do just within ourselves. Putting your hand in your heart is something that is very effective, for me at least. However, sometimes we need to get some reinforcements, right? And what I mean by that is sometimes we look through our imagination or through our connection with outside, what appears to be outside forces that help us come into a sense of love. And, if you are, if you're a follower of Jesus Christ, you might imagine the presence of Jesus with you. Maybe, the Dalai Lama or the Buddha, sitting with you, offering you love, looking at you with eyes of compassion. Maybe your grandma. Maybe you can imagine sitting, in a field, and you put your hand on the earth, and you feel the power of Mother Earth surging through you. You imagine that great power that is Mother Earth is inspiring you with love and giving you strength and fortitude. Maybe you put your hand on a tree. Maybe you look out and you think of the sun. You think of the sun's rays infusing you with energy and love and light. All of these things can help us. Sometimes we don't have it within ourselves to find that, but it's important that we do that. And for this particular meditation, I'm going to invite you to do that. So I'm not going to put my hand on my heart because I have my microphone on the tie, and if I put my hand there, it's going to block out the sound. So I invite you to get comfortable and to breathe. If you'd like to close your eyes, that's fine. I will keep my eyes open so that I can keep conscious of the camera here. But let's breathe in to the heart. And let's imagine that we can breathe through the heart. We want to stay heart-centered. We want to do some heart breathing, right? If you find that you're distracted by thoughts, we gently release them in favor of the heart and the heart breathing. When we're in the heart, our consciousness tends to expand, see a little more clearly. So as we take these breaths, we're just relaxing and we're entering into that consciousness. And for this meditation today, I'm going to invite you to contemplate a situation in which someone in your life, known or maybe you don't even know who they are, but somebody who's pushed your buttons, who seems to have attacked you, judged you. There's been some controversy, some pain, some anxiety, some fear, some anger. And see if you can't go to the triggering moment, the moment in which something exploded, a judgment, a hurt. And as we do this meditation, I'm going to invite you to place yourself in that moment. When we recall these emotions, we're actually provoking them in the present moment, so we're, in truth, reliving them. So we're reliving it now. It's very much in the now. I'm going to invite you to recognize all of the emotions and thoughts that come as you jump into that moment, allowing everyone to be just as they are. Let your judging mind go free here for a moment. Judge them, and what the feelings that you have, the hurt, the judgment, the anger, the rage, the desperation, the sadness, the mourning, the loss, the grief. There's a connection between the mind and the emotions, and one feeds the other. The emotion feeds the thought feeds the emotion, and goes round and round. So just make a collection. Maybe you have a nickname for that person, a negative nickname that you might have for that person. And I invite you to allow each one of those thoughts and emotions to be just as they are, without seeking to change them or detour away from them or anything, but just allow them to be. Allow them to be. You remember Rumi's poem on the guest house, allowing all of those guests, some of them very negative, come in and disrupt the furniture. But just let them be. In fact, welcome them. And then investigate. Not in an intellectual way, like looking up the psychological text, but investigate within yourself. Where do you feel that? Where in the body do you feel it? And as you investigate it, see this cycle of thought and emotion, how one feeds another. And how sometimes those thoughts and emotions, they spiral down into more and more negativity. And again, just allow it all to be just the way it is. And now, having worked on some acceptance, let's bring in some compassionate presence. Let's do some spiritual parenting. Let's provoke that love that I talked about at the beginning. Love within yourself. Or if you need to, reaching out. A wise person, grandma, maybe your dog, the earth, Mother Earth, the tree, the sun, Jesus, Buddha, Dalai Lama, a wise soul in your life, a teacher. Let them help you come into a sense of nurturing to those parts of you that have been hurt, that are judging. Listen to them say to you, it's okay. You can trust that it's all going to be all right. For wherever you are, God is. And with that sense of acceptance, feel the love. And for this individual that we brought into mind, let us just know that whatever they did is a call for love. The lost soul is calling for love because they've lost their way. They've forgotten. They're asking us to help them remember God's love in their life. And if we have love within us, because we've sourced it, we've touched it, let us then extend love. Understanding that giving is receiving. So as we extend love to them, immediately we receive that same love. And again, it's a cyclical. We give and receive. We give and receive. With your breathing, we can breathe in the love that is God within us. And as we exhale the negativity, all of those emotions that seem so strong and overpowering. And let love purify the inner temple of our being. Long lay the world in sin and error pining till he appeared and the soul found its worth. Till love appeared and you remembered who you are. You remembered who they are. The soul found its worth. Breathing in, aware once again of this time and this place and this energy within you. Hopefully with a renewed vigor and life. We give thanks. In the name and in the nature of that one presence God, we pray. Amen and amen. All right, Unity of Fredericksburg, God bless each and every one of you.
Right. Hi. It's great to see Reverend Toro again. He was our minister for a number of years. Thanks for watching the weekly broadcast from Unity of Fredericksburg. Visit our website, uova.org, to learn more about our mission of spiritual awakening and transformation, and support our ministry with your financial donation. Thanks again for watching, and see you next time.